Thank you for tuning in to another episode with Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I am a relationship and femininity coach, and my goal is to help both men and women be in relationships best for them. So, I've been married for over 14 years, coming up on 15 years. On this channel, what I do is I share advice that I've learned over the years that God has shared with me. So, you who are either married or have an interest in being married, have an interest in being in a healthy and steady relationship, you can learn from me so you do not have to make mistakes, either that I've made or that other people have made. So today I'm going to talk about moving from where you are in a stagnant position to a healthier and better place. So I'm going to use the analogy of me running track, or actually in this particular situation, me running cross country. So I did run track. I ran track, in middle school, high school, college, and things like that. Now, so this is more of a twofold meaning, at least a twofold lesson that I've learned. So I was a 400 and 800 runner. And initially, I started out doing 400, and then because the person who ran 800 was not able to that day, then I ended up running the 800, and I just happened to be really good at it. So I started running the 800, and then my coach said, "Hey, I think it's time for you to start running cross country." And I'm like, I don't do that kind of long distance. And he's like, "This is to help with your endurance. You'll be a better 400 and 800 runner for it." Come to find out, in college, same thing. My coach was like, "Hey, I want everyone who runs a 400 and longer to do cross country so you can have the endurance that's necessary. And you don't have to be a top performer in it. You just need to be able to run it to build up your endurance." So needless to say, I do the in the cross country, it was a 5K, which is 3.1 miles. And so we would practice in running, in the neighborhood, in the street, on trails and things like that. So I ran, this is high school. And so we would run in the neighborhood where the school was, and sidewalks, things like that. And so we were running, and I didn't do really well initially because I've never ran long distance. I never ran beyond the 800. And even then, I thought that was a long race. This is me as a freshman. I had just started, or actually, yeah, I think this was I was a freshman. I have never ran cross country. So going into my second year, my sophomore year, he said, "I want you to start running cross country." So I started running, and I was in the back. So I would find someone who could run my speed because everyone else was way up front, and I wanted someone to run with. I ran with this girl, and if any of you all happen to watch my videos, hello. So I ran with this girl named Ashley, and she was slow like me. She had just started running, and we would be in the back running as slow, as we could. And then after running for like a week or two, I'm like, I think I can pick up speed. So I tell Ashley, I can't run with you anymore because I can actually run faster now. This isn't where I need to be anymore. So I'm just going to run a little faster. And she's like, "Okay, cool. That's fine." And so the next person that's running at a faster speed, I can't remember if it was Tutao. So I run, and I'm running with her for a little while. A week or two goes by, because after running consistently every day, because we did run about every day. I don't know if we ran on weekends, but we ran. And so you get used to the speed, and it doesn't seem so bad anymore. So then I run, and I believe it was Tutao, and I'm like, okay, well, I can run now with this group of people who are ahead of us at a certain distance. And when I say distance, like sometimes you don't see each other because you are at a great distance. So I leave her and I'm like, okay. And she's like, okay, cool. Do your thing. I'm going to keep running my speed. And so I run and I run past a few people and I run and I'm with Jessica. And so me and Jessica ran for a while. And we were actually at this time, this is a pretty good speed. We are running at a very good speed. And so, even in meets, I would run with her. So we run, and run. And before you know it, I can run faster. And this, because I'm at a higher speed now, it probably took a couple of months before I shift to a new speed. And then I begin to leave her. And now I'm running at this speed. And so, of course, I'll tell you, when I first started, I probably ran 30 something minutes at practice. And this is, of course, prior to meets and things like that. We would just have practice. By the time I finished running meets, by the time years have gone by, now I'm a senior, I'm running 19 minutes. So as you can see, this is a big difference from someone who's running close to 40 minutes to now running 19 minutes and 3 miles. Again, I'm not a long distance runner. I'm what you call a mid distance or extended sprint runner. So when I went to college, I did occasionally have to help out in a 4x2. But I was initially a 400, 800 runner. So I say all this to say, sometimes in life, you're going to have to tell people goodbye. And it's not like I never saw those people anymore. It's not like there was a total cutoff, but there was an understanding that I am no longer at this position, this phase in my life, and I cannot stay here. I have to move forward. I have to get to the point that I am challenging myself. Because sometimes people say, well, I can do this, but I'd rather stay here with you because that makes me a ride or die, right? No, at some point you have to move forward. And a mature person realizes, yes, you are moving forward and I'm not going to hold you back. And none of them held me back. None of them made me feel bad for leaving and moving forward. They rooted for me. And this is how we need to be in life. Who in your life is holding you back? Are they really your friend? Where are you? Are you in the same position that you were in, a month ago, a week ago, a year ago, 2 years ago? Are you in that same position? Are you moving forward quickly enough? Because as I mentioned, I said, as weeks gone by, if you're being consistent, you realize that your body now gets used to this particular area. Now your body has a barometer where you are, and then if you push yourself, now it moves to that and it can take that. So this is how it is in life. Are you making your mind get used to this environment, or are you stretching your mind? Are you going to stay in this type of relationship or move forward? And so that's just the practice side of it. When I started running meets, I would get to the point where I would see the back of someone and I'm like, I want to beat this person. They're right here. Like they are right in front of me. I just need to pick up speed just a little bit to get there. Then when I get there, I always had a hard time breathing. So I would have gum to help regulate my breathing, but I would match their footsteps. So I would have to speed up, then get to them. And I would take my steps when they take their steps. If they're left, right, I would do left, right. And I would regulate my breathing to be more calm. Now I'm running their speed. And I stay there until I'm comfortable enough to get my bearing to find the next person. Okay, that person is there. Okay. Sorry, the lighting. Just a moment. All right, so hopefully the lighting is a little bit better. Sorry, it's limited lighting. Okay, and then so I'll get to the next area and I'll see this person and I'll just keep moving until I get there. And then my coach would say the very thing that he loves to say. You're at the last 800. And to me, the last 800 means run it like the 800, pick up speed. And I would do just that. I would pick up speed. Just a moment, please. And I would then just run like the Dickens. And this is how I feel like in life, whenever you see something or someone who is something you want, or someone who is there, at the point of what you want to achieve, are you upset and jealous? Or are you saying, you know what, let me get up there and see what they're doing. Let me ask or watch what they're doing so I can learn. Let me regulate myself so I can see this is how I need to do things. If this person has, if this woman has a husband, let me learn from her. Let me see what she's doing. Let me regulate my behavior so I can look and act and sound and portray genuinely like a wife. And if this guy is a good man and he has this woman as a wife, let me see what I need to do. If this person has this job, or this person has this thing that I want, let me ask them. Let me either ask or watch to see what they're doing so I can have those same things. Not to take from them, not to suck all the energy out of them, not to envy them, but to say, wow, I am in awe of what they've accomplished, and I too want to do this. Or are we just saying, you know what, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and I'm not going to challenge myself to get here. Even though I know what it takes, I'm not going to challenge myself to get to where I need to go. And though I'm told I'm on the last stretch and time is running out, I'm not going to put the energy into it. Or will I put the energy? And so I say this to say, sometimes in life, you can see something right there. You have the opportunity, just like me. I see the back of someone. I don't want to see the back of them. But let me speed up, regulate my breathing, do my steps the way they do it. And then when I get my bearings, find the next challenge. And so we can take some of these things that we've learned in life and move it, or learned in sport or things like that, and we can take it in life. I'll give you another scenario, because sometimes this may be you. The very first time I ran the 800, which is why this is the pivotal point of of me running the 800, because this was the first time I ran it, and from that point I became an 800 runner. So, like I said, the girl hurt herself, and so then I end up having to run that race. Well, I was like, I don't want to run more than a lap. This is too long distance for me. So I ran my lap, and I actually ran very slow in the first lap, thinking I needed to pace myself for the second one. With that being said, the girl who was first at this time has already gone on her second lap, and she's on the last turnaround. So she's approaching the last curve to go to the straightaway. So I would say she's probably 150 meters from the finish line. I am just beginning my second lap, right? So I have a whole 400 meters to go. So then I'm like, that first lap was so easy. I have so much energy. So I decide I'm going to run as fast as I can. I see this girl right here. I want to go ahead and get past her. So I run, I get past her so quickly. Then I move to the next girl and the next girl and the next girl. And I just immediately start seeing everyone stand up in the stands. And I immediately knew what happened. I did nothing in that first lap that I could have done. So I go to the first, I'm on the straightaway now, and I'm running like the Dickens. And I see, it's like I'm closing in on the girl who's first. So by this time I've passed everyone except the first girl. I come on this last curve. She's on the straightaway, and she was running slow, obviously, because I'm coming on the last curve. She's in the middle of the straightaway. I run her down and win the race. How is it possible that someone can win a race when someone is only 150 meters from the finish line and I'm 400? So how many of you, just like me, decided to not give your all, knowing you had so much to give, that I did a disservice to me and my team? Even though I won, imagine how much more I could have accomplished, what challenges I could have done had I put all my all into it, right? But that was a learning curve for me. And so with that being said, how many of you are running your race and you're not putting any energy into it. You are in a relationship and you're putting no energy into it. Or maybe you're like me. You didn't put any energy into it, and then you realize, you know what? I'm not putting any energy into it. Let me go ahead and put some energy into it. But by that time, is it too late? Or will you be able to make it? And so every situation is not going to be the same. You may not always come on top winning like I did. And of course, from that moment on, I no longer did that again. I put all my energy into everything I did, which is why you would see, like cross country, how my time changed. My time had changed. At that race, I was probably 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Of course, my best time was about 2:09 at the end of the day. A high 2:09, but it was 2:09. And so the difference in the change in that lets you know that you can run a race, and there's different types of people. There's those who will stay stagnant, just stay where they are. They never change. Year after year, they're running the same times. Or you'll see a person slowly progress, or you see a person immediately progressing because the challenges that they're putting themselves through. They're challenging themselves to get better so quickly. They're putting in this extra time, this extra energy. They're coming up with second wins, third wins, like they're pushing it. They're running hard the first time and coming up with the second win, right? Then there's others who are saying, I can't do it. This is as far as my body's going to let me go. And so what are you doing in life? And sometimes we're in relationships, we're in friendships, and we're holding on to something that is not there. It is gone. It is dead. Like, we need to end it. We need to move on. Or we need to stop fearing, the unknown. And it's hard, but you got to do it, because the results you get is based on what you put in. Put in half the work, you get half the results. And that's what everything in life. Most of the time we know this as it relates to exercise and dieting. But what about life? What about your relationships? What do your relationships look like? Do they look good? Do your friendships look good? Do your business relationships look good? Does your work life look good? Because if it does, then great. But if it doesn't, what are you putting in? Are you putting in the effort, or are you just only doing 50-50? Are you going half in, half of the energy, half of the love, half of the joy, half of the communication, and thinking the other person's going to put in half? Or are you putting in your all, your 100%? No matter what, because no matter who you're in a relationship with, you're putting in your all. And then those who do not deserve your all, because they're not putting in their all, you're putting it into it and moving on and saying, you know what, this isn't for me. I cannot be stagnant in this type of relationship, because I'm putting in my all, and I need someone who's putting in their all, because I need a challenge. I always want to do better and be better. And the reason why my marriage is the way it is because I'm always trying to outlove my husband, and not in a bad way, but every time he does something, I need him to know I care about you, and I love you, and I appreciate you. And he says, you know what? I do the same thing. So I'm going to put all of my energy to let you know how I feel. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. And we're just always trying to figure out how to outlove each other. How we can show how much we love each other through our acts of service, through the way we speak to each other. And so, And it's not to say that, no, just like everyone else, we go through things, but what's important is, what are you doing? What are you working towards? So I want this to be something that, if you're going into the new year, you start over from scratch. So wherever you are, start over and say, you know what, at this point, I want to put in my all. I want to put in 100%. I don't want to be stagnant. I always want to look for a challenge. I'm going to look forward, and I don't want to keep seeing the backs of people. I want to move forward, regulate myself, get my composure, and keep moving forward no matter what. And the person that is my friend, the person that I'm in a relationship in which I'm in a relationship, I want to move forward with them. So I want to be careful of who I'm in a relationship with or a friendship with, to make sure we're moving in the right direction. Business relationship, whatever that type of relationship is. Make sure going into this new year, you're doing just that. you don't have to start to the new year, because this whole New Year's resolution, you can start today, right now. But we're approaching the end of the year. But start today, not tomorrow, today. All right. So thank you so much for tuning into Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I'll probably do some videos next week as well, because I don't want too much time to go in between as I do videos. But like I said, I'm getting them in where I can get them in. All right. Thanks. Take care. All right. Really quick, there's a caveat. I feel compelled to say this. If you are in a relationship and you feel like you need to move forward, but your spouse is not, this is not me saying dump that person and just move on, because marriage is different than when you're just in a relationship, because a relationship that's not marriage has no strings attached. But if you are in a marriage, or like a business contract, a business deal that has a contract, there's proper ways to handle things, right? I'm not saying marriage is a contract, but just like with a business relationship, you can't just cut things off because there's a contract. Well, marriage is the covenant. And so that requires prayer. So you guys can move forward together. Now, I talked about if you're in a marriage that God did not condone for you to be in, then you need to take that to the Lord in prayer. But this is not for this type of lesson. Is not for you to think that I'm saying for you to just get up and leave your marriage. That requires prayer to see what God is saying for you. And not going to be the one to break up a happy home, but there are some relationships that God may not have ordained for you to be in. You put yourself in that mess. But just because you are moving forward, and it's not easy for other people to just immediately pick up just like you. So it's important that you do the work and just keep doing the work to be consistent. And when they see your good deeds and what you're doing, that will prompt them to also want to do it. So with other people, you have to give them time and grace. So your spouse is not going to pick up just immediately just because you got an epiphany. So those are two different things. I don't want to be the one, the reason why you just picked up and left, because they're not moving fast enough, just like you are. All right, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.